Casual Magic has been sponsored by Quiver, maker of the Quiver and Bolt deck cases and other fine deck holding accessories. Use the code CASUAL on their website for 10% off your order. We're also sponsored by Architect, the premier site for hosting your decks on the internet. I love them and they love me, and it seems like a good reason for you to use them. You can also support Casual Magic directly by going to our Patreon at patreon.com/ShivamB. And now, on with the show. Hello and welcome to Casual Magic, the show where we talk about the fun side of Magic the Gathering. My name is Shivam, Bhatt, and Casual Magic is brought to you by Cool Stuff and Architect. Whoops, I have to redo that because the Cool Stuff hadn't sponsored me for like 2 years. Hello and welcome to Casual Magic, the show where we talk about the fun side of Magic the Gathering. Casual Magic is brought to you by Quiver Time and Architect and my patrons at patreon.com/ShivamB. And today, I'm really stoked to have one of the dudes of One More Mana, this like collective of YouTubers who do EDH stuff and are just like utter goofballs, but just like smart somehow. Y'all are like, it blows my mind that like in your day jobs, you guys are like insanely brilliant people and then you're just clowns.
You got to find a way to let it out somehow.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I have Ken with me from One More Mana. You're like just a hilarious dude. I love watching you. And every time we've gotten to hang out, I've had a great time. So it's super cool to have you on the show, man.
Oh, it's great to be here finally. Finally been able to track you down when you're not being mobbed by hordes of people, try to get your attention and stuff. We try to climb over the bodies to get to you.
Come on, man. I saw your line in Chicago. You guys had a line just as long as I did.
Okay,
or Vegas or wherever the hell we were.
We paid everybody in that line with White Castle and free lollipops. That was the only way we got them in there. All right, those were okay. The truth is out. We didn't want to have to put that out there, but we paid people to stand in that line.
It was so cool though, man. Like we got to hang out and share table space. It was really neat. I don't know. I mean, how's it going, dude? I haven't seen you since the show, but like, I love hanging out with you guys at all these cons that we go to.
It's always fun, to meet the people that you see out in the internet world and, get to interact and find out that a majority of them are actually pretty cool people to hang out with like yourself. I just wish you had more time to play, and I understand your schedule because it's so weird because it's like, especially content creators have very little time to actually play Magic.
Oh, right. Like every time you're playing Magic is a time you could be editing your show or making content or something. And then it's like, and then when you do sit and play, you're like, should I be taping this? And then you feel stupid.
Everything is content.
Dude, this weekend, there was a Laughing Dragon event here in the Bay Area where I live, and I got to go out there. And, like everybody there was either from my LGS or just random locals who didn't know who I was. And I was like, hell yeah, I could just hang out and just jam games of Magic and whatever, who cares? It was awesome. It was sick. It's like so relaxing. I found that when I go to Magic cons, like if I want to play Magic, you don't go to a Magic con. You got to go to like the SCG Open or Cool Stuff or whatever, like one of the small little shows. Otherwise, you can't.
We normally find the nearest Arby's because we know nobody's going to be in there, and we just sit in there and play. It's like, would you like the food? Don't you dare threaten us while we're here.
Playing at the Waffle House at 2 a.m, the way we did when we were kids.
Exactly.
Oh my God. Yeah, but like, okay, dude, because you guys showed up on my radar when I think around the same time MagicCon started showing up, like around Philly, probably it feels like. And when did you find Magic? How did you find Magic?
That's an interesting story. So,
well, it's my favorite story to ask people, man.
I found out about Magic when I was in college. And I was literally on campus, and a friend of mine comes to my dorm room, and he was like, hey, I got this card game that I want to try. And I was like, okay, is this that Pokemon or whatever? I was like, I didn't know what it was. He's like, hey, I'm going to buy these cards. I just want you to play. And I was like, okay.
I just need somebody else to play through it for me or with me, right? Like,
so we're both sitting down playing, and I'm like, you know what? This is stupid. I'll go. I was like, thank you for buying this. I appreciate it, but no, this looks like way too much time. I got video games I can play. So cut to, I graduate and I start my first job as a programmer, and I'm literally driving from the south side to Alpharetta. Now, if people don't realize, that's like an hour and 15-minute drive without traffic
In where?
in Atlanta.
Yes. It's like there's a lot of places that have south sides, man.
Oh yeah, everywhere has a south side. Everywhere has a Martin Luther King Street.
Yeah, pretty much.
But the traffic is so bad in Atlanta. So this is what I thought I was going crazy. So I would sit in traffic, and I would just sit there, zone out, and 3 songs would play, and I would snap back to reality, and I'm still in the same spot, and I'm like, I can't do this. I cannot do this. Like I physically cannot do this. So I pulled over to the side, and I got off on one street, and I found this shop. And I was like, I'll just stop over there and chill. And at the shop was an LGS. And I was like, okay, cool. I'll hang out here. And they were playing Magic. So I was like, you know what? Instead of sitting in traffic for 2 hours, I'm just gonna sit over here and learn to play Magic. And that's how I got into it.
that is the goofiest story I've ever heard.
I'm
Where
telling
you're
you.
just mad at traffic, so you learn to play Magic.
So I couldn't take it. So when I started learning, of course I got my butt whooped, but that's the best way that you learn these things.
Bring the mic a little closer.
Sorry. I got my butt whooped, but that's the best way that you can learn these things. Like,
I mean, yeah.
So then I ran into Ced, and Ced is like the old sage. Well, he was like the sage at this point. So of course
he's such a level, cool, chill dude, man. It's like you guys have a weird dynamic. Like, I don't mean to jump ahead, but like you 3 have a weird dynamic because like he is just like the chillest, most level-headed dude ever, and then you guys are just like all over the place compared. It's like 2 monkeys dancing around a tree or something. I'm like, what's going on?
We put it to amount of the insane asylum, and he's running it. So it's pretty much like, okay, we're gonna go wild, and your whole job is to rein us in.
So you met him where?
So I met Ced in college. I was friends with me and his wife were friends, and she introduced me to him, and we started to hang out. They leave and Georgia, and they come back, and we start hanging out again. And he's really into Magic at this point. So he's like, "Oh, so since you know about Magic, let me go ahead and show you." So I'm sitting there playing, and I was like, "Okay, yeah, let me learn." And then he's like, "Okay, let's go get you a deck." And I was like, "Okay." And then he was like, "A deck costs this much," and I was like, "I'm sorry, what?"
I beg your pardon.
Como se va? I'm sorry, what did you say? I have to spend real money for this? He's like, yeah, but a deck can last you for years and years. And I was like,
oh, sure it does.
Yeah. I was like, okay, sure. So I bought a deck, and we went to LGS, and no mercy whatsoever. And this is when I start learning words like Timmy and Spike and very aggressive players who don't care if this is your first time in Magic.
They sure don't.
And will pub stump the ever loving whatever religion you believe in. They will find a way to knock it out of you. So then
the end boss.
So then that's the villain origin story for me, because then it became, okay, you know what? I'm gonna beef this deck up so I can fight back. So
do you remember when this was?
This was the second wave of Innistrad.
So like Shadows over Innistrad?
Yeah, something. Yeah, I believe that was the name of it. So coming into it, I was like, okay. And I became real aggressive with it. And then you like, you know what? Maybe we don't need to go to this LGS. We're going to find another one. Because I started to find out that Magic it became competitive, and it wasn't as fun. And and I'm not, taking shots at people who play competitive. If you like competitive, by all means, go.
I'll take shots at them. This show's called Casual Magic, bro.
All right, thank you. I can be real about it. You guys are scumbags, and you reuse toilet paper, and I hope your pillowcase is hot on both sides.
Oh no, that is the worst curse of all time. You take that back, man.
But
hope your pillowcase is hot. Jesus Christ,
hot on both sides.
Why would you curse someone like that? Oh my god. But yeah, like that's the thing. It's wild because like I used to go hang out at LGS all the time, but here where I'm at, Channel Fireball's headquarters used to be here.
Okay.
And so all the LGS stores were kids trying to be good enough to play Channel Fireball. So they would just crush you mercilessly because they're trying to get good. I mean, fine, you have a goal, you have a plan. And I was like, this is not what I want in my life. So now I'm just like, I go for pre-release and just hang out, and then otherwise I'm like, this ain't my scene. But pre-release is always fun though.
Oh yeah, always.
Because even the spikes have a good time at pre-release. So it's just like nobody knows the card. We're all here to just chill, more or less.
Not in here in Atlanta. They have they have study guides. They have charts. They have they have constellation graphs. Well, Mars is over here, so we need to draft Simic.
Dude's got the limited resources podcast in one ear the whole time, and like the MTG Goldfish guide in the other.
I don't know if you've seen There's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, but you ever see like when he's looking at the charts and everything?
Yes, exactly. Yeah. It's like, but yeah. What were you playing? Were you playing Commander or were you playing 60 card, or what was going on?
So I started off. That's actually a funny story. So I started off. My first was draft, and I'll never forget because the first pack I ever opened, because they were like, "Hey, you want to play draft?" And I was like, "I want you guys to know I'm very new to Magic, brand new. Like I don't know what the card type. I barely know what the card types are." So I opened my very first booster pack, and I literally hold the card up, and I was like, "Hey, this thing doesn't have a power and toughness. What is it?" It was a Planeswalker.
You know what's funny? The first time I ever drafted was in Rise of Eldrazi, and because I had taken a break from Magic for like 10 years or something like that, a long time. And when I was a kid, we didn't draft because that didn't exist. And so my friend's like, "Yo, we should go drafting." And I'm like, "I've heard of drafting. I've watched Magic before. I know what drafting is. I've read the articles and stuff." And I go and I crack the pack of Eldrazi, and the first card I see is Sarkhan the Mad, which is a Planeswalker that only goes down. And I'm like, I knew vaguely what a Planeswalker was, but I was like, what the hell does this do? And I thought it had summoning sickness. So I put it out there, and the dude just attacks it and dies. And I'm like, Planeswalkers suck. What is the point? And he's like, "You're supposed to use it, bro." And I'm like, I can just do that. Maybe tell me next time.
Oh no, they definitely won't tell you that.
Oh hell no, they won't. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, when I held mine up, I was like, "Hey, what kind of creature is this?" And everybody at the table stopped and looked at me. It was like, "You know what? That's not a creature. You can pass it if you want to."
Yeah, don't do that.
Yeah, I didn't. I picked up on it. I was like, the fact that everybody was pretty much slavering over the card, I was like, maybe I should keep this.
Oh my god, dude. The place I drafted was a combination Indian restaurant and Irish pub. So just wrap your head around that for a second. And then the way they did the draft is like at the end, we would pool all the rares and the winner would get to pick one. So you didn't even get to keep the card you drafted. So I never saw that Sarkhan again.
Not gonna lie, I will say fish and chips with tikka masala does sound like it would hit.
It does. Let me tell you, man, getting samosas and beer is a good time. It's a good time. Yeah.
Oh, and those little dough balls that are dripped in honey.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh,
you know what? Let me tell you, I don't know why this existed, but it just like recently closed down and it sucks. But it's like Indian food and Irish pub is kind of like, why would no one have thought of this? This is the best idea ever. Just call it colonized by the English and it'll be great. So yeah, so how'd you find Commander then?
So Sayed introduced me to Commander. So he was like, "Hey, it's a format. You know, you don't have to change your cards out. You know, you just buy a deck and you run with it." So me and him were playing for like, I say a year and some change. And we switch LGSs, and it comes the origin story of Derek. So we go to downtown, and we discover Derek fist fighting a guy in a parking lot over meat. I'm just playing. But we go to the LGS, and we're sitting there, and then we just run into Derek, and we're sitting there rifting back and forth, and he's like, "Hey, your humor is kind of like ours. You know, we like hanging out with you." So then we were like, and he was like, "Hey, but by the way, we had already started the channel for like a couple of months."
Oh.
And Derek was like, "Hi, I'm new. I'm from Florida. I'm just trying to get used to the scene." And it's like, "Well, you look cool, and you look like you're not an axe murderer yet. And if you try to stab me, I can fight you off." So
Dude,
he's
bro looks like, like an unemployed surfer. And
mhm.
then you talk to him and he's like, "Oh yeah, I'm a biologist or some ass scientist." I'm like, "What?"
Biochem major who took like cellular something.
Yeah, he's like genius. It's like him and Tappy got into a conversation like that was like real science, and I was like, "Oh, what the hell just happened here?" Because you two were like drunk clowns 10 seconds ago, and now we're talking about polymers, and I'm like, "I what? What just happened?"
Yes, he's very adept on molecular biology. Said is more of the professor type. He does a lot of teaching and stuff.
Yeah.
I'm more computer science and physics based. But
Yeah, like I said, you guys are like, I don't understand. I don't understand how you're clowns on TV and then go and do real world stuff. I'm just a clown all the way through. I got nothing else.
well, I'll put it like this, as Batman would say, "This is the real me. What I do at work is the fake me. That's the Bruce Wayne. Magic allows me to be Batman."
Yeah, you know what? Well, not as long as Marvel's here, so it'll probably just be Man Bat instead or something. Uh, I think maybe if you go to Bloomborough, you can become a Batman.
I can settle for Iron Man or a Black Panther or a Captain America. I'm more Marvel than DC. Hence the hat.
Oh man, dude, that it's gonna be a weird summer when we're sitting there playing decks that are like Cloud and Spider-Man go on a party together. Like, what the hell's going on?
I've already made a declaration. I don't really play standard, but this is going to be the first time that I play standard when I can build a Spider-Man deck. It's going to be a red blue. It's going to be a Is It Spider-Man deck. And I put it like this: if a menace is not one of the cards, they have failed. If great power and great responsibility is not a card, they have failed.
Dude, like those things are like the first cards they made. Come on, like,
They better.
yeah, like there's gonna be a symbiote. I'm gonna have a mono black Venom. It's gonna be great. Uh, I don't know. I don't know crap about Spider-Man. I just really like Venom because I played Marvel vs. Capcom. That's why.
Eddie
Um,
Brock is that dude.
Hell yeah, man! It's like, and the movies were actually really good.
Yes.
They had no right to be good, but they were really, really funny. But yeah, so like, why did you start a channel?
So we were looking at content out in
Mm,
the sphere, and we noticed that there were some voices that were missing.
you don't say.
So, and we thought, it'll be a unique take because, and a lot of people are kind of a little polished
Mm,
and a little reserved when they get on the mic. And we were like,
mm,
you know what? We have a different voice that we can lend. We have a different perspective. I'm relatively new to Magic, and and Sid is relatively more seasoned.
mm,
And it was like the clashing of two worlds with somebody who knows the lore, who knows the mechanics, who knows the history, and somebody who's coming in brand new, fresh off the plane, and just like, okay, what is Magic? What is this weirdness? And how do I adjust to this like meta changes
mm.
through all this stuff? And how do I even keep track? Because honestly, it's so much lore that I don't even try anymore. But Sid sits there, oh my God, Lorwyn, you don't understand. And I was like, okay, you freak.
How long's he been playing?
He's been playing for like 10 years, I believe.
Oh man, I need to talk to him too. But yeah, I mean, I think that's really fascinating. And like one of the things I was curious about, and I didn't want to like just bring it up off the top because it's always boring to do that, but it's like real talk, there's not a lot of melanin in the magic space in terms of content creation, right? And like it's weird because like for a long time it was like Cedric Phillips and like me, and like Power Dragon down in Texas or Seattle or wherever he is, I don't even know, but like it feels like we play Magic all over this country and all over this world. There's people of every race and color who play this game, but all the content creation and all the content comes from people who are upper middle class white dudes, and it's just like there are people in Alabama who play Magic.
What Well, I'll put it this way, because me and Sid had this discussion before, and it's all about accessibility. Because
Mm,
even in Atlanta, there's only like a handful of LGS. I think they're like maybe 3 or 4,
mm. There's got to be
and
more than that. Atlanta's huge.
you'd be surprised. There's one on the south side. There's probably Winning In. No, Winning In doesn't exist anymore. Sorry. There's Titan. There's Wasteland. There's Gigabytes, and then there's like another one up north. So there's
Mm,
like 4 or 5 of them. But then again, and also, like, I'm gonna be honest, like, especially when I was growing up, I had no idea Magic even existed.
mm,
I didn't even know it was a thing. I've heard of Yu-Gi-Oh, but that's because the show came out.
right,
And I think that's one of the gateways that actually gets people in, is that there's media to let you know that it's around.
right.
Pokemon went gangbusters because there was a show, and
And
then
a video game.
there was a video game, and it was like, okay, if it's anything like of a card game, it's more Pokemon. How can I say no? And I understand Magic is
I
relative.
mean, think about it. I found Magic in 1994, and I found it because nerds who were like, we were all into fantasy novels, and we're all into D&D, and we're all into like super nerd stuff. And so when you get a nerd magazine, it's got like magic in it. But like, if you're just a random dude who's watching Saturday morning cartoons or whatever, you're never going to know this game existed.
And that's pretty much how it went. And another thing too, which was a surprise, which was a shocker, is that this is, we call it disposable income, the game.
Mm-hmm.
And essentially what it turns into is who can throw as much money as they can at the other person to win. But
Pay to play, baby.
yeah, exactly. And then said came from the perspective of, it doesn't make sense that you have to spend a ton of money to win. So I'm going to find alternative cards that do the same thing that these high powers do, and still play a deck and still bust a behind in with these cards.
Right.
And I came up with the idea, was like, okay, you know what? Let me come up with, if everybody's aggressive and they do this and they do that, then all I have to do is play cards that stop that one thing. So, for example, if you like to ramp hard and play Mana Rocks, okay, I'll play a Collector UFO or Stony Silence. And now you just sitting there looking at me funny. See, my whole thing is like, you know what? I can't outgrind you, and I can't outpower you.
Hmm.
But what I do is I build decks like, okay, I can cripple this ability, I can cripple that ability. You want to play free spells? Okay, cool. You're going to take damage every time you do it, or it automatically gets countered when you do it. So we have different theologies when it comes to Magic. And it's kind of fun when we sit down and play, and we put those against each other and see how they compete. So his school of thought is, they're classic Magic cards that people have forgotten about because everybody's chasing the latest and greatest.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm thinking that there's various forms of play styles that people have, and various game theories that people utilize. And if you analyze the person, you can kind of gauge what they go to, and especially the color combinations that they want to use.
Mm-hmm.
So you kind of build a profile like a serial killer of a player that you play it against. You say, okay, cool. You like to play these expensive cards. If I look through, and one thing I love to do that people don't realize is I play cards that allow me to look through your deck. So
People hate that, man.
I know, but I do it the best. G.I. Joe said it the best. Knowing is half the battle.
Come on, man. Yes, knowing is half the battle.
So if I can look through your deck, I'm like, okay, cool. You're this type of person. Oh, okay. You have a mother and you play these cards? Okay, cool. So now I know what you're trying to do, and I've already pre-built in my deck to deal with certain situations.
That's annoying. That's real annoying. I don't know. It's like, the thing is, people will go through my decks and they'll either be like, oh, this is the most transparent, like, creature type deck of all time. Or it's like, what the hell does this even do? Why are you doing this to me? What am I looking at? Those are my favorite kind of games. When they're just like, I don't, like, it's like someone played a Jester's Cap on me. That's a card that lets you exile 3 cards out of somebody's library. And like, they're looking through and they're like, what do I even take? What the hell is this?
I love Jester's Cap, especially. I put it literally in my Muldrotha deck.
Jester's Cap. Muldrotha. Are you kidding me? Recurring Jester's Cap? God, that was my nightmare in 1994. When I was a kid, that card was like the bane of my existence. It was the strongest card in Ice Age that we thought of at the time, and like I traded mine for 5 legendary lands from Legends, so like Caracas and all those things. And
Mhm.
dude, Jester's Cap is a messed up card because it's just like slice your combo right out, and you're like, well, my deck does nothing now. Yeah, I hate that card. I mean, I love that card in the olden days, but just what a pain in the ass. um, yeah, like you play like super trolly decks, don't you, dude?
A little bit, yeah.
Like I remember seeing some of your decks, and actually, you know what was hella funny? You remember when we were all at Gen Con together, and we played that one game where you have to buy stocks in the other in like the company and try to bait each other into buying those stocks. I had
Yes.
gotten that tiny little it was like this mini pocket sized game that I just picked up, and it was like the three of us, and well, the four of us, like you three and me, and we were sitting there playing this game where you guys are just trying to like bait people into picking up the pink card because you've got the other three in your hand, and it was just so fun. It's like that's the kind of bluffing BS that I love out of a commander game where you're just like, I'm trying to trick you into doing something really, really stupid because it's going to help me win.
It's the main reason why I love deception based games,
Mm.
because it really forces you to get into the mind of the other person, and just psychologically break down how they think and then try to manipulate them, especially with, because everybody has tells, everybody has cues that they go off of, their facial expressions give them away. It's very interesting.
Yeah, man. I feel like you would have enjoyed playing Magic in the days when Fact or Fiction was a card, and everybody was just like, "All right, buddy, which of these 5 cards do you think I want?" And then you're like, and it becomes a weird old like. Have you tried playing the Sphinxes? Like, there's a bunch of these Sphinxes which are like they come into play and they're like, "All right, here's a face up card and here's a face down pile. Which one do you want to give me?"
So that is said style. So said plays those decks, and they're very irritating to play against.
Yeah, they sure are.
We call them saw decks because it's always, do you want to play a game? I was like, look,
Oh, Jesus.
just play your card.
Oh my god. Um, what kind of decks do you play?
My decks are pretty much straightforward. They just go and beat face. Uh,
Mm,
but I like to be direct because my whole thing is I'm coming. My whole point is to beat you to death. That is the whole thing.
good,
But
clean
then,
fun.
yeah, because I want you to know what's coming. I don't build combos. I don't build infinites. I know it's legitimately, I'm here to beat you down, and I want you to see the creatures coming. It's
that
coming
f-
right for you.
that feels like a lot of Joe Johnson's decks, where he just sits there and he's just like when he's playing like his Blanca or whatever. It's like you're like, well, look, this deck's got one job and it's to roll you over. So get out of the way or don't. That's not my problem. He's a mess up dude, and playing his deck, like I love Joe, but his decks are not a good time.
So and that's the thing, when I fight Joe, it's literally a fight because I know we are literally going head to head, and this is a slugfest. This is UFC. You can sell you can sell tickets to this. And whenever I build decks to fight Joe, I already know, okay, when I get this home, I'm gonna have to burn this deck, pray over it, sprinkle some sage over it, and get a priest to bless it because it's I built one. I remember one time we went to California, and because it
Mm,
was for Joe's event,
the cookout.
the cookout, exactly.
What a
And
great event, by the way,
oh
man.
yeah, it was amazing. And he was like, okay, make sure you bring a deck that can compete. So I was like, okay. So I went to a church and prayed, and I went to my mom. I was like, Mom, I got to do some stuff I said I'd never do. And she was like, and then she looked at me and she was like, son, why are you at my house at 2 o'clock in the morning? And I was like, because I ran out of milk. So then I build this deck. I have a binder of cards that that I refuse to touch. I had to pull those cards out and put it into that deck. I play tested it against Derek and said, and they all looked at me horrified. And I was like, you cannot bring this deck back to Atlanta.
Look, man, when you got to play against Joe, you bring out you do whatever you got to do. Like, God has his eyes closed. Like, it just you got to beat the man to pulp, or you're going to die.
Mm-hmm. Now I had to come back and get baptized after we played that, but
Get thrown in the river to cleanse you of all that filth, huh? Oh man. The game I was talking about, by the way, is called Startups from Oink. It's like super easy, super chill. It's very, very funny if you're playing with people who get conned easily. God, that was hella fun, man. Uh, I don't know. I think about that periodically because like I bring that game out to parties and people always just fall for the same traps. But yeah, dude, like, so here's a question that I'm really curious about because I asked Cedric Phillips this once because I was like, dude, you are like I asked him straight up, I'm like, you're the most prominent black guy in Magic, hands down, easy. You're on TV, you're on all these shows. Have you thought about it? What does this mean to you? And he's like, I grew up in Cleveland hanging out with white people. So that hasn't really like that kind of doesn't apply to the way he thinks of his life. And I was like, that's fair. But at the same time, like, have you run into it? He's like, no, or not really, because he's just been so good that he's like proven himself to a point that nobody's bugging him about it. But I'm like, I've definitely dealt with racism in Magic like all the time. That's why I retired from the commander thing because I was just tired of you. I mean, we don't need to go into that detail, but it's just like coming from the South, coming from Atlanta, where like, have you noticed anything? Like, what does it feel like playing Magic or going to like one of these cons and seeing what everybody else is like?
so
And I'm not saying that like you're running to racism because most of the
no,
time
no, 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 no,
Magic Con's great, like
no,
it's
no, no.
chill, but it's
Ma-
just I'm curious about the cultural like intersection.
it's a very different experience, I will
Mm,
say, especially just coming from somebody who just chills with his friends.
yeah,
When I got into MagicCon, there's a first of all, it's just like I said, it's a lot bigger than I imagined that it was
yeah,
to scale.
yeah.
When I get into these places, it's like, okay, football field long, multiple stadium size. It's like
Twenty
this is
thousand people.
and the amount of money in that room, and you're like, what is going on here? And
Hmm.
the people for the most part are amazing. You do get a couple of the awkward encounters, but I just chalk that up to that's by the numbers.
Yeah, it's just that's just the way the world's gonna be.
I will say that because this is a niche in compared to society as a whole,
Hmm.
it will attract more introverted people.
That's the truth.
And you do have, and I do say this, that you have to come to these things with some understanding,
Mm,
because I'm a very social person. I'm very extroverted. I can talk with anybody. I can make
for
friends with
sure.
them, and that comes supernatural to me. It took me a minute to understand that there was a lot of people who can't move like that. So I would see somebody who's standing off to the side and they're just looking at me, and I'm like, maybe they see somebody over here, or I don't know what's going on. But after like 5 or 10 minutes, you kind of get a little like, okay, what's going on here? And then it takes a minute to be like, hey, they want to say something, or they want to talk, or they want to ask you something. I was like, okay, that took a little getting used to. I will say we're still on the smaller side where we don't have to worry about things, because we are friends with the major content creators
Mm.
like yourself, like Brian, like Olivia, and just the stuff that they have to go through alone, and you have to go through when you go out there. I was like, you know what? I'm cool where I am in my own little pond.
It's funny. People are like, "You're one of the major content creators." I'm like, it doesn't feel like it, but then I go out there and it's like, I don't know. People know who I am, and it's weird.
It's like just this is how big you are, because we were just trying to walk up to you, just say hi, and just like say hi, and it was like we had to get through like a bunch of people and get football tackled. I was like, you know what? We're just gonna leave them alone, and we're gonna circle back and get to you later, because it was like a bunch of people just swarming you, and I was like, I mean, you don't even have a chance to just breathe, and I was like, I'm cool with the 10 people that know us. I'm fine with that.
You know what was the funniest thing ever was the first time that Prof came to a Magic Con, and I ran into him as he was walking in, and we've been friends forever, like well before he was Prof and I was anybody, and like we are just hanging out and like, oh hey, how'd your wife, how'd your kids, all that sort of thing, and suddenly immediately behind us, you see like a line spontaneously generate. And I'm like, what the hell is happening? Because the first time he ever went to a GP as Prof, like when he was finally his YouTube videos getting known or whatever, there was a Grand Prix here in Oakland, and we went to it together. And people were suddenly like looking out of the corner of their eyes, and they start whispering like, "Is that the dude? Is that Prof? Is that guy over there?" And you would see this like 6-foot diameter circle appear around us. Just like one person would just kind of hover outside of my eye, just slightly back into the left or whatever. And then slowly they would just make this big ring around us. And I realized what was going on because Brian is a very introverted dude himself, and he's not going to start forcing hand like dealing with people very well. He just makes videos and puts them out and doesn't want to talk to anybody. And I was like, okay, we're gonna have the world's worst time if we don't just start filtering through this. So I just started grabbing people. I'm like, oh great, it's so nice to see you. There, shake Prof's hand, take a picture. Great, move on, move on. And I just like line managed him the whole way through that show because he was like, I don't know how to deal with this because that was the first time he was anybody. And so like he's gotten a lot better about that now. Like obviously he knows what he's doing, but that was the first time either of us had felt like what it means to be a Magic, like because before that it was just Magic pros,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like folks like Luis or John Finkel or like whatever pro players were the ones that people would be like, oh man, it's that guy. But now it's like content creators, and that was like the first taste either of us had had of just not being randos anonymous at this thing. Like last week, I was at the Laughing Dragon event in San Francisco. I'm coming down the stairs on Friday in the con hall, just looking kind of like, it's Friday, 2 o'clock in the afternoon. I'm just like, whatever. And out of nowhere, these two dudes just jump on the escalator and like, holy crap, you're Shivam. Can we take a picture? And I'm like, have you done any events? I'm like, bro, the only event I've done is parking upstairs. Chill for a second. Let me get inside.
Can I please go to the bathroom?
Yeah.
I just want to go to the
Oh,
bathroom.
bro, you want to know the weirdest one of all time? I was in security leaving MagicCon, literally in the security line where they had taken my bag and were going to go take it and like do the thing, when a dude behind me is like, holy crap, you're Shivam, can we take a picture? I'm like, not here, literally not in the security line where they're checking my stuff, please. That's not where we want to be taking doing. I don't want to know who you are right now. Talk to me when we get to the gate, or don't ever, please, but this is not the time.
My favorite part is like when you're eating and you got a mouthful of food and it's like,
oh dude, I was sitting there in, I think, the first Chicago. I'm sitting on the ground on the cement, slumped against a pole, just have this like garbage con pizza in my mouth. I'm just like, whoa. And some dude comes up to me and he's got like a stack of cards and he looks at me and I'm just like a gremlin on the ground with pizza. And he's like, I'll come back. And I'm like,
got cheese and sauce just dripping on your beard. It's like, let me consume this.
yeah. I'm like, bro, this is the first time I have sat in a minute. Let me have this. Oh God, it's weird though. I don't know. I mean, whatever. It just comes with the territory. It's nice to be that people enjoy what we do. Like, but seeing you guys show up on like Shuffle Up and Play has just been so much fun. I love that Prof keeps calling you guys out there and giving you opportunities. I think it's super sick.
Prof Brian is an amazing person. There's some people that you meet and you like, okay, you're different, but no, he's the same person on screen as he is off screen. Like a great soul. I just love working with him, and that's one thing I do like is that people when we do work with people, they let us be us, and we don't have to water ourselves down.
I mean, he didn't bring you on there to do something else. Like he could bring me on if you wanted that, right? Like, come on.
I play a land for a turn and I pass.
No, I think he's got an incredibly good talent and good eye for seeing people who you might not know who have just really great presence and bringing them out there and then putting them into a place where they can thrive. And it's sick. It's so much fun. Like, yeah, I don't know. I just love watching you guys show up there because, like, he's obviously the old out of touch guy and you're just like clowning on him all day. I don't know. Clowning on Prof is one of my favorite hobbies, I think.
It is always it's a pastime when we go down there.
So what do you think of Magic right now? We're in a weird place.
My thing is I try to look at both sides. I understand the cheers and I understand the complaints on both sides. Honest, and because when I went and played the last set, the Tarkir set that came out, some people were super excited because they were like, Magic feels like Magic. But what people don't understand is that Magic has to be evergreen. And by that I mean it has to find a way to expand its base and grow the numbers.
Hmm.
What people don't understand, some people do and some people don't understand that Lord of the Rings was gangbusters for Magic.
Oh
It
yeah.
it introduced, like, there were people who didn't understand the game who were buying cards.
Hmm.
That's huge for any IP. So when they came in, they were like, "Oh, I get to buy a one ring, or I get to get a Legolas." Or so when you open up these other IPs, what you're doing is saying, "Hey, come in. It's like a gateway drug. The first one's free."
Hmm.
It's like, okay, we're gonna get you in the door with SpongeBob. We're gonna get you in the door with
Doctor
Final
Who. Doctor Who was
Doctor Who.
huge. Or
Exactly.
Fallout or Warhammer. Warhammer and Doctor Who. Like you would see people who have no business playing or have never cared at all about this who are suddenly like, "Oh, I need in on this." You mean
People
I
were
can play as Doctor Who?
people were buying all the Doctor Who Commander decks just
Mm.
because they had the images of their favorite doctors.
Oh yeah. And I'm like, I wouldn't know a doctor from a nurse or whatever, but like it was cool to just see people who like that's the thing. I am of the opinion that Magic is better when there are people to play with, and having more people to play with is better for all of us. So whatever brings them in, I don't care. Like, I mean, yeah, some of these things could use probably half a paragraph less words on them, but that's not the theme's fault. That's just card design is getting a little clunky these days.
Yeah, I remember I turned over one card one time and they said it was the best of times, it was the worst of times. I was like, okay, not that one. I pulled another one. It was like in the beginning, God. I was like, oh Jesus, I don't think I can read the rest of
Call
this
me
magic.
Ishmael.
Call me exactly.
Oh man, dude, the day they get the Herman Melville all Universe Beyond, I am all over
the
that.
the Jane Austen,
Oh god,
the
dude. You have no idea though, man. If they ever did a Bridgerton crossover, it would be like immediate. We would have like instantaneous parody of genders in these things, man.
Okay, you ready for this? Okay, first of all, you already know Game of Thrones is on the horizon because it already fits. Let's just go ahead and get that. Speaking of which, if they had to do a crossover, which one would you want?
I want Wheel of Time. I want Wheel of Time real bad, or I want like some of the old classic D&D stuff like Dragonlance really bad, because D&D already fits in Magic very well. But like, if you ask me just straight up, like, what are the thing that I would want? I would either be like Brandon Sanderson novels or Wheel of Time.
I love the Wheel of Time. I
I
haven't started.
love the Wheel of Time.
You want me to tell you who became my favorite character?
Who?
So I haven't started season 3. I know I'm behind, but
Oh my god, dude! Oh my god!
I know, I know. I'm still behind because I just finished Andor season 1, so I need to go. Season 2 just
Well,
started.
I mean, yeah, it just started as of recording today,
But
so
Egwene became my favorite character after
oh, she's
season
so
2.
good.
Oh my god, that scene when she's fighting back against the lady who imprisoned her.
Oh
Spoiler
my
alert.
god! When she just ruined. Oh yeah, yeah, dude. But the music during those Shan scenes is so creepy,
Oh
and just
god.
like that weird note, and it's just like, dude. Look, I've been reading Wheel of Time. I discovered Wheel of Time the same year I discovered Magic,
Okay.
like in 1994, like with the third book, and I've been reading them ever since. Every time a new book would like, first off, Wheel of Time is huge and crazy. And when it started, it was supposed to be a trilogy. And then he was like, yo, there's no way I'm going to do this in 3. I'm going to do it in 50. And my dad bought me book 3. So I missed the first 2 books. And the first 2 books are like 700 pages each or whatever. And I'm like, who the hell are any of the, what is going on? But then, like, every time a new book would come out, I would read the whole series from start to the end of the book until like the last book where I was helping run the fandom signing here in San Francisco, and I became friends with Brandon Sanderson because of, anyways,
Really?
yeah, we played Magic together. Like after the Wheel of Time signing he did, I went up to his hotel room because I had a box of Guild Pact. No, of whatever the second Return to Ravnica set was, the Red Guild of Ravnica. What I don't know, whatever it was. It was the red one. It had Boros. But anyways, we drafted it, and he like thrashed me. It was crazy. But like that's how we became friends, and that's why I beta read all of his books. But the point is though, like Wheel of Time for me is like a thing that has been with me the whole time. Like half my books, I met Robert Jordan. I got him to sign them all. It's super sick. if you haven't read, have you read the novels?
I have not read the novels.
Oh my god, dude, you got to read the novels. They're so good. But
So
like, the series does a lot of things better, but the books are hella good.
the way I got introduced to the Wheel of Time was actually a friend of mine that I go to Dragon Con with.
Mm.
Dragon Con is this
Oh yeah,
huge.
Dragon Con's like local for you too.
Yeah.
You bastard.
First of all, Dragon Con is a 5-day party. It literally starts on Wednesday and it ends on Monday. So so I was at Dragon Con and my friend was there and they would tell because he's a huge Wheel of Time fan, him and his wife. And he was going into the lore and I was like, this sounds amazing. Because apparently the books, they don't know who the chosen is. And it's apparently
Mm-mm.
among 3 people.
Yeah,
And it's like they all have different abilities, but the whole path is to figure out who's the chosen. And
sort of, kind of.
yeah,
By the end of
yeah,
the first book, you know.
yeah. So I sat down and I watched the first season. I was like, this is amazing.
Yeah.
Then they changed actors, which kind of threw me for a second.
Yeah, because that one dude who played Matt just decided he didn't want to wear masks or anymore, and he just quit.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, fine, peace out. The new guy is hell. In season 3, the new guy is amazing. So it's like it's fine, great.
Okay. But so far, season 2, like I said, was amazing. I thought she did a phenomenal
Oh
job.
yeah,
Especially
oh yeah.
that scene when she's playing chicken with the girl for her life, and I'm sitting there like, who
Oh
is this
yeah.
woman?
Oh, Egwene does not play anymore. She is not here to. There's no niceness. She's like, no, I'm going to kill you, and you are going to know that.
But I love the theme of like loss of innocence that they play with this.
Hmm.
Because it's like, and you see her growth and development as a character because she was the soft spoken, even though she
Yeah.
had this minor fury within her, but it was like you don't understand what the fight means.
Hmm.
And you think she gets a taste of it when she's defending the keep, but it's
Hmm.
like, no, you haven't really been through
Yeah.
suffering
Until
to
you're a slave, and then suddenly you're like, oh, yeah, because like in the books, that too is like that is her driving motivation. She's like, yeah, anything you like, she runs into Forsaken and they're like, aren't you scared? And she's like, there's nothing you can do to me that could possibly be worse than what the Shan did to me.
but but it also shows like the growth and development from a teenager
Hmm.
or to an adult,
Oh yeah.
because she had the concept of danger and a concept of how the world works, and then she was actually thrust in the position where she actually felt helpless. Her helplessness in the beginning was, I don't know how to use my powers,
Hmm.
until the point of I'm literally in servitude to someone and I really can't rebel. I
Hmm.
thought that was phenomenal storytelling.
Oh yeah.
Sorry if I went off on a tangent.
Oh no, dude. I could talk Wheel of Time literally forever. It's my favorite character has always been Parin, because he's just like he's got this conflict of like he's an innately violent. He's got this violence in him. He's got these wolves. He's got this axe. He's got this just rage that he doesn't know what to do with, but he doesn't like it and he wants to pacify himself. He picks up this hammer. Is a blacksmith, and he's like, my identity is building things, not breaking things. But when I need to break things, I got this axe right here, and I will ruin your life. And his story arc is so good throughout the books, and the actor's been playing him so well, so good. And
now
dude, the multicultural casting, are you kidding me?
now I love his story the most because it kind of, from like D&D, it kind of reminds me like an Oathbreaker paladin,
Hmm.
because
Yes.
it's like, especially the situation with his wife and everything, I was like, this is like, the storytelling for this is amazing.
Oh yeah, dude. I mean, that part was created for the TV show, but some people are like, I don't know about that. And I'm like, no, it's so good though. It's so perfect for him. It fits the way this story needs to be told. But yeah, anyways, I want Wheel of Time magic. That's what I want.
Okay.
Because it would be sick. Are you kidding me? It would be so cool to have Randall Thor as your freaking guy.
Oh my god.
Or
What
like, yeah,
what color combination do you think? Orzhov? No,
Rand
no,
Rand
no,
is
no.
gonna be he's Mardu all the way. He's got the red for insanity, he's got black because he's uncontrolled power, and he's also white because he's a dragon and he's trying to like, harness and bring all these people together. He's hardcore Mardu, I think. Like Moraine is blue 100%,
Of course.
Egwene is blue white,
Mhm.
Perrin would be like green,
Gruel.
Gruel maybe, yeah, because he's got
Mhm.
the violence, but he's also like the wolf guy. Matt is almost certainly just like red or red black, you know, um,
Moraine would be, I would think,
white blue or pure blue.
I give it
No,
blue
she's
black.
white. She's white. Moraine's got to be white. She's all about justice and like about like saving the world and trying to help Rand by forcing him to learn how to do these things. Yeah, Moraine and Lan are probably both mono white.
No, I give her Azorius.
You
White
think?
blue.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because she's also knowledge.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like Varen would be pure blue because she just cares about learning, etc. The actor who plays Lan is so good. Oh my god, are you
Definitely
kidding me?
mono red. Definitely
Oh yeah.
mono red.
No, dude, homie's like paladin. He's like pure white. He's like a white knight all the way through. He's like gonna be coming in, forcing you to fight him, and then just wreck your life. It's like it's gonna be awesome. Um, yeah, he's like a samurai basically. Yeah, dude, I don't know. I could do this all day. I could like make the whole set on the spot. Oh, anyways.
Like they're not gonna be sitting there taking notes.
Oh, dude. I got to work on Aether Drift, so I saw how they make these sets, and like, yeah, they really are just sitting taking notes and like figuring out, okay, well, this is going to be a 4-2, so this got to be a 3-4. And it's like they have like a graph and a matrix that they've got built up of like each set's got these set of creatures that like a white thing's got to have a small to large flyer in it, and it's like, wow, you guys have just got a formula, and it's like, well, we have to make a billion of these sets. If you don't have a formula, how are you going to do it?
Exactly.
And yeah, it's like I think the real trick is even knowing you have a template, how do you make 100,000 unique cards is kind of wild.
I know some of these cards. I look. Some of the cards that have come out have been spectacular, and some of those I've been like, I don't know who designed this, but they need to be pee tested right now. Like I need you to pee in a cup because there's no way that this passed testing.
I don't know, man. Some of these cards are kind of like, yo, did it need to have those extra 2 lines that just give it immunity to everything?
Exactly. Does it need to be bulletproof on top of Vigilance Lifelink?
Dude, the thing that killed me, the card that I'm just like losing my mind over is this. In Tarkir, there's a 1-drop, and it's got Reach, Vigilance, Death Touch. And I'm like, are you for real?
Yeah,
like,
you're talking
really?
the Dragon Sniper card. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm like, really? Really? Do we need to have Reach and Death Touch and Vigilance on a 1-drop? What the hell is going on? Like that in 10 years ago, 15 years ago, that would have been a mythic rare, not a goddamn uncommon.
Exactly. Oh, that's basic. Oh, that's just not even trying.
We got 30 of them. Why here have 4 more? It's like, what the hell are you doing?
Here's a play set.
That stuff, it's just like, I'm like, you guys need to calm the hell down. This is not okay.
Like, all right, everybody to go take a lunch break. All right.
Yeah,
I need you to go check that person's basement right now.
like this thing shouldn't be better than Baneslayer Angel. I'm sorry. Are you kidding me? Oh my god. Have you gone back and looked at like what Magic was like before you started playing? I mean, obviously you have at this point. But yeah, I'm just curious what you thought of like old Magic when you were starting.
The word power creep jumps up very fast because classic Magic used to be simple. It used to be, I'm going to pay 4 mana for a 3/3, and it has flying. Ooh.
Hey, dude, don't you make fun of Phantom Monster. That guy took me a lot of places.
A 4/4 with Vigilance, and that was the power card. Sarah Angel?
You don't talk about Sarah Angel on this show. Not in my presence, buddy.
Sarah Angel is the McDonald's of angels. Okay, it's basic.
You know what, man? They put it into friggin' they put it into a set recently, into even Foundations. They had like Shivan Dragon and like Sarah Angel and everything. And it turns out if you've got a Sarah Angel on the table, you're still gonna win that game.
Oh yeah,
4/4 fly and Vigilance is still gonna kick your ass, man.
Oh yeah, still a powerhouse.
It's still like, yeah, and especially I went and I took it and I equipped it with that stupid axe that gives a double strike or whatever. And it's like, oh, turns out I just win. So GG's, buddy. Yeah. Anyways, good times, man.
But at least there was like, you had a chance. Now, if you go to like if I go to a pre-release, I just ask people. I was like for example, the Tarkir pre-release I went to, before I even played around, I was like, okay, do you have an Elspeth or do you have a Ugin? If you do, I concede.
Oh, dude, the friggin' mythic dragons in this set are so I think the one that I got slammed with was Uremi, the teamer one that comes down and it's like, it does damage to you for each land they have in play or whatever the hell. And I'm like, what the hell? You
Yeah,
just nugged me from outer space and just like, GG's, buddy.
Alpha Strike. As soon as it comes, it's literally a one-sided board wipe. It's like I come into play and then you lose.
Goodness gracious. All right, so we got a few minutes left. Tell the people what your actual show is. I didn't even say that at the front.
So the name of our show is One More Mana. Basically, we focus on Commander because everything else is a lesser format. Our whole thing is just giving new takes and new spins on Commander from our own perspective, our views, and our own brand of humor.
Yeah, and y'all are incredibly funny, and I really, really do just love hanging out and listening to you because it's just like it's so goofy. It's like I miss that. I miss being just I too many people are like expect me to be serious all the time, and I'm just like I want to just be doofy. And so I love that you guys still have the energy of like youthfulness, even though I know y'all are hella old. So there's no young Magic players. Like, let's be real.
Mm-mm.
Actually, it was super weird. I had Callie on the show. She was a Magic new girl, and she came with me to the pre-release in Victoria for Aether Drift. And I was talking to her, and I was like, "What was your first set?" And she's like, "Phyrexia, all will be one." And I'm like, "Are you friggin' kidding me? Like, why is that anybody's first set? First off." And then I was like, "You're younger. Like, I started playing Magic before your parents met." And it's like, oh, that's rough.
It's adorable.
Oh, God. All right, bro. If folks wanted to find you or find your show, where could they go?
They can find us on YouTube under One More Mana. We are also in Blue Sky under One More Mana as well, and Instagram as well as One More Mana. You can also not find us inside of a Subway because that place is gross. And you can probably find
desperate times.
Yeah, I'm telling you, man, it got me through college. And and if you're in Atlanta, you can probably catch me on 285 because traffic does not move.
Yeah, well, I mean, unless you duck off to the LGS.
LGS, it was a saving grace.
It just took all the rest of your money for the rest of your life, but you got out of traffic.
I will say, if the amount of money I spent on this hobby, good Lord. Like when a friend of mine sold all his collection and was like, oh yeah, I'm going to use it as a down payment for my house. And I was like, I'm sorry, what?
Bro, a friend of mine who's a buyer came over to my house after the Laughing Dragon show. And because I was going to take him to the airport, I'm like, hey, while you're hanging out, we got like 3 hours. You want to just go through my collection and see what you can get? I will tell you off air how much money he got out of cards I didn't know I had that were just sitting in boxes somewhere deep in my back. And I'm like, are you for real? Really? That like I could pay a car payment off of just crap that I put in a box and never thought about again ever? Like, maybe I should just really have you come by when you got like 7 hours and go through all this crap.
With mine, I can get Whopper with extra cheese.
Look at you indulging extra cheese in this economy.
Exactly. How dare I?
Anyways, bro, thank you so much for coming on today. This has been super fun. I don't know. I've been looking forward to talking to you guys forever, and I hope I can get like Derek and Seth on sometime. But I'm glad I was able to at least start. So, but yeah, thanks for coming. And folks, as long if you want to find me, you can find me at Blue Sky at Shivam Bhatt, or like on Instagram, I guess, kind of vaguely. I don't know. But really, you can find the show anywhere podcasts are sold or at YouTube every Tuesday, thanks to my editor, Dan. You can also hear me on Shivam Wheeler Love Magic or the Chronicles Dragonlance podcast. And remember, my friends, it's not magic without the gathering, and we'll see you next time.